Hello friends, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 3. It has been a day. This little stinker child has just been quite cantankerous and it's been keeping me up at night, so I'm exhausted. I was planning to do a sort of studio crafting area clean with me video today, but I changed my mind. It was just too much to try and do with a fractious baby and being tired. So instead, what I've decided that we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of Christmas cheer in today. And I'm going to talk about some gift crafting that I am planning to do for Christmas presents and such. Yes. You stinker. So first off, we're going to talk about some knitting projects that I'm wanting to do. The main one being I would like to complete 2 pairs of socks for my husband for Christmas. Now, the first one I've shared on my podcast before. It's this ribbed knit sock that I'm knitting out of Drops Fable. That's not showing. And I have almost completed the first sock. I have started the toe decreases, so it's almost done. But I found that ribbed socks, at least right now, are seeming to take me so much longer than socks usually do. So I set this one to the side and started the second pair of socks that and I'm just doing a vanilla shorty sock, and they're in this bag because I'm making sure I hide them from my husband and don't work on them when he's around. But I'll talk about it more in another video when I discuss my Black Friday Small Business Saturday purchases. But we went to my local yarn shop finally, which was amazing. It is a lovely little shop and I cannot wait to go back. It has so much yarn there, and I love the fact that it's not just all incredibly pricey hand-dyed yarn. They have a bunch of other types of yarn that you can't really get at places like Joann or Hobby Lobby or Michael's, but they're I guess, excuse you. He's laying down here on my lap, in case you're curious. Maybe I can tilt the camera a little bit. Hold on. He's right down there. I guess more big brand yarns, but yarns that aren't readily available. And I found this yarn, which I didn't know was a thing. It's Barocco Vintage Sock. And it's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, 8% nylon. And I didn't know that this was a yarn until I was looking at my local yarn store's website. And I am just so curious to see how socks made out of this yarn are going to turn out, because it has such a high ratio of acrylic in it. So it's probably fairly strong. But then it also has the wool, which would give it the child. My apologies for my son. He's being a stinker child. And then it has the wool, which will give it the elasticity and the memory, which is what wool. That's why non-superwash wool yarns are so good for things like color work, because they have that really good memory to them. And then it still has the nylon in it as well, which most socks do. It's just again going to give it more strength. So I got this. It's in the Douglas Fir colorway, which is very appropriate. I didn't realize that that was the colorway name. There was a whole shelf of these colorways, and I told my husband to pick one out, so like he knows. But then I made some comment about, yeah, you know, I'll get around to it eventually. Being a little sneaky there. But I've started the sock, and I've got the cuff done, and then I have actually started with the heel. I'm doing an Eye of the Partridge heel, and I'm hoping that these will go fairly quickly because they're just vanilla socks. And for me at least, I find that vanilla socks do tend to go quite quickly because I have the pattern completely memorized, and it's just a lot of knitting in the round, which is absolutely lovely. So I would like to get both of those pairs of socks done. Those are kind of my top priority. And then if I have time, there's another pair. When we were in Wisconsin in September, I mentioned this on my podcast, we got this sock yarn. It's the Fiberco Amble, which is just a gorgeous sock yarn. I absolutely love it. I would like to get a pair of socks done out of this as well. I may end up doing this one and the green ones over the ribbed socks, because again, he's working on filling his diaper, so apologies if you hear any of that. The ribbed socks tend to take longer, so I may just put them to the side and finish them after Christmas and just cast on another vanilla pair of socks out of this one. But we'll see. I'm gonna get the green socks done at least, and then we'll go from there and I'll see what I end up doing. So that is my top knitting priority. Then if I have the time, I would like to make, and I believe I mentioned this on my previous podcast episode too, I would like to make something for my mom and my dad for Christmas, but I've come to the realization that just with the tiny little pockets of knitting time that I'm getting, I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll talk about those at the end. Those are kind of my stretch goals, if you will. The next project that I would like to make is actually a crocheted project, and it is for baby Tam. I would like to make the crocheted Hobbs toy. I'll pop a picture up here. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I have the yarn and everything for it. I've had it for probably a couple months at this point. Yeah, he's just found his thumb yesterday, which is the cutest thing ever. And so he's just sitting here sucking on it. I know some people don't really care for babies or children or things like that, but they're just so cute. They're just so lovely. And it's so nice having my own that I don't have, even when there's frustrating days and exhausting days, and sometimes you're just like, child, if you would just sleep, you would be so much happier with life. But at the same time, it's so lovely to have my baby that I don't have to, send home with somebody else, sort of a thing. He's mine and I get to keep him. And he's such a stinker. But at the same time, it's just, he's lovely. He's a lovely, ornery little child. It's only going to get more so. I have 6 brothers, so I'm very familiar with boys and their rambunctious behavior. Anyway. Total side note there, but it's been a day and I have not had anyone to talk to. My husband's going to be home in probably about 20-30 minutes, which I am so looking forward to. It'll be so nice to be around him, and it's Friday, so it's the weekend. It's just, it's going to be nice. Anyway, what I was saying, I'm planning to crochet the Hobbs toy for baby Tam for his first Christmas present. I thought that would be really cute. And I have the yarn. I'm not going to get it because it's in my yarn chest down here, which I will show you in a yarn tour video for one of these days in Vlogmas. But it's got stuff all over it, and my whole crafting space is such a shamble. I have not been able to do much of anything since the baby was born, and things keep piling up. So that's why I want to make a clean with me video, because I'm going to devote like one day to just, that will be my big task for the day, is putting everything away, cleaning everything up, dusting everything, making it all look good again so that I can actually do some stuff. But I have the yarn. It's just some acrylic yarn from Hobby Lobby because, especially for making toys, I want to make sure that I make it in yarn that is something that I could realistically, if I needed to, toss it in the washer and the dryer or wash it with a soapy rag or whatever. So I would really love to get that done. So that's my top priority. I want to get the green socks done for my husband and the Hobbs toy for baby Tam. Then I also, for sewing, I recently saw on Instagram, I'll see if I can find the picture to pop it up here, these very simple Christmas tree ornaments that are sewn. So they'd be fairly quick to make. I would probably want to do some hand stitching and embroidery or whatever on them, but the basic part of them is very fast. It's simply a pretty piece of cotton, quilting fabric, whatever, sewed to a piece of felt, and then you use pinking shears, which are these ones. Focus on the scissors, not my, there. So they have the kind of jagged edges, and that it's an old-fashioned way of seam finishing. Before they had sergers and things like that, you would use pinking shears to finish off the seams, and it just helps the fabric not fray as quickly. And so you just cut the felt out. Not that felt frays anyway, but it also gives it a pretty decorative edge. You cut it out with the pinking shears, and you just stitch it around it. I think in the tutorial you stuff it a little bit, but I may or may not even do that. They look so pretty and simple, and I saw them and I just fell in love with them. They're just lovely, and I think that they would make a beautiful handmade ornament, and you could make all sorts of different shapes. The ones that I saw were in stars, but you could do any sorts of shapes. I was thinking about maybe doing hexagons. I love hexagons so much. I think they just look so cool. But yeah, so I think I would like to try and sneak a couple minutes here and there and make a few of those, because ideally, and this kind of merges really well into the present for my mom, I would like to make a few of them that I can send to my mom, because she also very much appreciates handmade things, and I think it would be really special to send her some handmade Christmas ornaments that then she can put up every year, and I can put on the back, you know, Christmas 22 or whatever, and I think that it would just be really sweet and lovely. So if I'm not able to do any of the knitting to make her a knitted gift, I would like to at least make a few of these Christmas ornaments and send them to her. And I think next year I might do some sort of a knit along for myself. Everybody will be free to participate. That is basically just making handmade Christmas ornaments. I think that I always forget, and I get caught up in doing all this stuff, and then it comes down to the last 6 weeks or so before Christmas, and I go, oh no, I want to make all of these Christmas ornaments for my Christmas tree because we're putting the Christmas tree up and I need all these handmade ornaments. And then it just never happens. So I think what I'm going to try and do next year is set a goal of like each month to make, you know, 1, 2 or 3 Christmas ornaments, and then stockpile them away, so that then come Christmas time next year I will have all of these beautiful handmade ornaments, and I think that would just be so nice. But the kind of stretch goals, if you will, of gift making, I would like to make my dad a hat. I would love to do that. I think it's something that he would wear. He's so hard to do stuff for because he's such a practical guy. He used to be a contractor and build houses, and now he's a lawyer, and so it's hard to know what to get for him or to make for him. And he unfortunately has a decent amount of food allergies, so last year I had this brilliant idea to do an edible arrangements, and I shipped it to the house where they were, and he was only able to eat a little bit because they coat it in corn syrup. And if you don't know what edible arrangements is, it's basically they deliver fresh fruit, and they coat it in corn syrup to preserve it, and I didn't realize this, and my dad has a corn syrup allergy, and so he was only able to eat a little bit. And then this year I was intending to get the hat done, but I talked about it in my last podcast episode. It turned out really big, and I have to frog it, and so I got him some Ghirardelli dark chocolate salted caramel chocolates, because I know that he loves those, and I didn't realize that they also have corn syrup in them, and corn syrup gives him a really bad headache, and so I failed as a daughter on my 2 gifts. So I would really love to give him a nice gift, and worst case scenario, if it doesn't happen before Christmas, I might just make like a January bundle. Or maybe see if I can get it to him by January 6th, which I think is the end of Epiphany, because I think it's like the 12 days after Christmas or something. I don't remember exactly. My mom started getting into a lot more of that, the sort of, I guess you could say, liturgical Advent calendar things. And I think it's January 6th is like officially the end of Christmas season, if you will. But I would like to try and make my dad a hat. And then the other thing I would like to do, I was thinking about making my mom a shawl, but then I realized that there is no way that would possibly happen before Christmas. So what I might try to do is make her a cowl. And I was thinking about doing the Cargill cowl, but I think that one would take too long because the stitch is a bit more in depth. And so Emily of the Blue Mouse just released it's a free pattern on YouTube, or you can pay for the PDF on Ravelry, which is $1, so it's very inexpensive. And she's calling it the Honeycomb Cowl, and it's made out of worsted weight yarn. And so I think that that's a little bit more achievable. So I think I might try and do that. But like I said, I think I'm going to have to see how it goes with doing the 2 primary gifts that I want to get done. The socks for my husband, gift for baby Tam, and then go from there and see. But yeah, so those are my gift knitting, sewing, crocheting plans. I would love to hear it if you have any things that you're planning to make, or if there are any sort of Christmas ornaments. I love the look of felt Christmas ornaments, and I'm going to talk about this in a whole other video because I've found so many different Christmas ornaments that I want to make, whether they're knitted or crocheted or sewn. So I really want to talk about it because, like I said, I think it would be really fun to try and do something next year to intentionally make a few Christmas ornaments each month. Yeah. So that's it for today's video. It actually is going to be a little bit longer than I thought it was because I've been so chatty. But yeah, I hope that you all are enjoying Vlogmas and are having just a wonderful beginning to December. And I will see you tomorrow.